This is All About Home Construction, and here's your hosts, Terry Cannell-Beck and Randy Blake.
That's right. Good morning, Randy Blake.
Morning, Terry, and everybody out there. How you doing?
It's Saturday, man. We're doing great. You gotta love a good Saturday morning here.
Warm
on
Saturday.
Well, if you don't like that, hang on about 48 hours, and we'll change that for you, Randy.
Well, I'm just saying it's 51 degrees. Now we're getting ready. They don't know what the weather's going to do.
I do. It's going to get cold and windy. That's about the one thing we can guarantee right here in the high country. Maybe some snow, possibly some snow, probably at least some flakes. We could see like 2 inches. We could see a dusting. Hey, guess what? It sounds like every other winter weather forecast we get.
And the ski slopes aren't even open yet.
I know. But this has got to at least help them out because the cold snap will bound to be helping them out. If nothing else, it's going to help out cooling the ground off. So I think we got this one. But it's going to be blustery. That's what I hate. I hate the cold wind. And that's the part that's going to kill me.
Well, I do too, but I can dress for it.
Anyway, all about home construction here in WATA and on the podcast, all about home construction. We appreciate that. And Randy, again, keeping up some of our rankings there. We appreciate that. Appreciate all of our listeners out there.
Yes, we do.
And all we ask is that you just keep sharing it with friends. We've grown, and saw some the listener the analytics telling us we have another person from Canada listening. I know your brother is up that direction. So I'm not sure if it's pinging off of that or not, but we do appreciate whoever is in Canada listening to us.
Yes, we do.
So pretty cool stuff, fun stuff. So anyway, hey, you said there's a Deb. Is that at a?
Yeah, she's at the Moose Lodge. They're having Moose Lodge got hit with that storm pretty bad.
Yeah,
and they've had a hard time reopening. They're just temporary open, but they're having a yard sale today that started at 7, goes to 1, and so go just wander around. It's indoors, not outdoors, and don't forget Thanksgiving. If you don't have a place to go, the VFW will feed you for free.
Nice, that's awesome.
And we changed. Now I told you I'll be cooking in December,
right?
So instead of the 20th, I'll be cooking on the 13th, and we'll be having prime rib salad.
13th. All right, so the 13th of December is date night.
Yep. And we did that because of conflict of interest with the VFW meal and some other. I can't remember what they talked was going on in town. So
good. That's awesome, though.
And you don't have to buy a ticket for this meal. It's walk-in.
Sweet.
And we do have a deck that you can come into the hall without coming through the bar.
It's good. That's the way to be.
But this will be the first meal we'll have doing prime rib where we got wine for the people.
Oh, that's right. We hadn't done prime rib since you got the wine license.
No, we've not. And,
that's cool.
So I told them, they asked me to come back on steak nights.
Sweet.
Prime rib is steak. But if you look at the market out there, I seen some calves the other day. They went for $4.35 a pound. Crazy. That's a big lick.
That's a bunch. Ugh. Yeah, it's not it's not an easy market right now, and I mean, cattle's not easy to raise at the moment. There's a lot of, at least some talk of some diseases. I don't know
it's a screw worm.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's actually around, but I know there's some scares. And then, of course, now you're going into winter. And so anytime you go into winter when you have cattle is no matter what the winter is not the best time of year. So, and
well, everybody's talking about the Argentina, and but when I listened to Market to Market last week, I always do it on Sunday, and they said there'll be 1.2 million pounds of beef that comes in the United States.
Wow.
And it won't be the select cuts like we get. It primarily be hamburger.
Okay.
And most people don't realize that a lot of the hamburger joints, the meat, it does not come from North America. It comes from Brazil.
Right. Especially all the places that serve the frozen stuff, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And the cattle coming out of Mexico is annual per year is 1 million head to help us supplement our cattle. So that's quite a bit, and that's been increased. That's been going on for 40 years that we've been importing cattle from Mexico.
But they've slowed that down the last little bit, right?
No, they had none at all coming in because of the screwworm.
That's what I thought. So okay.
I can't remember how many millions of male screwworm flies that they've released now.
Trying to
sterilize the females.
Yeah.
But it got within 70 miles of the border. So.
Which is pretty much, that's not, that's scary. Because there's a lot of cattle along that border in the U.S. So,
Yeah. And, but, 1 year I did add prime rib for the VFW, and the meat come out of Canada.
I remember that.
And that was just like the beef that come out of the 70s when I was in the restaurant business.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, there you go. So anyway, prime rib, that's December 13th, so a little over a month from now. And then, of course, like you said, the Thanksgiving dinner coming up for those that need a place to go for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Dave generally does 2 fried turkeys.
That's awesome.
I do a baked turkey. Deb's going to do a baked ham.
Ooh, I like I like some turkey, but I like ham.
People's going to bring, and it's potluck too for members.
Sweet.
So everybody tries to come out and feed everybody. Last year was the biggest year that David had.
That's awesome. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Well, you mentioned the word deck a minute ago, and so maybe it's a good time to bring on our guest.
Yes, it is. And
we don't know this guest, do we? Do we know this guy? No, James has been on many times.
Yeah, he has,
and we appreciate that, James. Of course, of our Appalachian pressure washing.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, man. How's life been?
Busy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. Your kids are teenagers now.
Well, yeah, I'm getting too old, too expensive. I miss the younger years.
I know. So, no, welcome back. Of course, long time guest on the show. And how's business going, man?
It's doing good. I get busier every year.
That's great.
It's just one of those things where the weather this year has killed us as far as getting things completed.
Right.
Before cold weather gets here, but last couple months we've had some good weather to get things wrapped up, and we're almost on track, but not quite.
Well, that dry spell probably helped you out a bunch.
It really did. So I'm kind of glad that helped us out a little bit.
That's cool. Well, for some of the new listeners, tell us what you do for tell us about your business a little bit.
I've been around since 1995. This is, I guess, my 30th year officially. We specialize in pressure washing, painting, staining, mainly taking care of your log cabins, decks. We do interior, exterior, just a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. Thanks to Randy Blake, if I have any questions, I'll call him about anything, and he helps me out.
Yeah,
for the most
right.
part. It's nice to have it's nice to have that guy
cool.
that you can call on.
Well, I use James too because I'm not a painter.
Right.
But as we've said in the past, the treated lumber's not lasting.
No, and I'm actually excited to have James on because I got several questions for him later on, but I'm with you on this because the decks in general, right, are not as sturdy as they were, I think, when I grew up. I mean, I feel like the materials are just not the same. I mean, there's lots of decks out there where it's like you're going to get splinters or fall through, and it's kind of scary in some ways, So.
It is. Now, my deck, on my house, I built it 9 years ago, and we've already got a floor joist that's broke in it. And
split down the middle?
Well, no, I've not took the decking up because I got to take my whole decking up just to get to it. Yeah, because it's sitting on the ground. It's only 5 foot wide, so it's a 2x6. Right. But the point of it is, it was a number 2 that should have never broke.
Right.
And if this was, let's say, this is on a deck, you can't run a 2x6 12 foot long on a deck 10 foot off the ground. But you could get under it and sister it on it. Well, this one I just got to take apart and replace.
Yep.
So it's going to take half a day to pull up and put back.
Yep.
And your staining stuff, are you seeing it hold on to treated any better?
Well, I've noticed that the new lumber cures out a lot faster than the older lumber does, and I think it has a lot to do with all the ingredients that they used to pressure treat it with. I think their major thing that they use now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, but they use was it salt water to
Well,
pressure
it's
treat most of the lumber now?
that's it. What they did, they took the arsenic out and increased the copper
Okay.
in it, but there's something else they did to it, and they're trying to put it under a heat treatment to get the natural sugars as a preservative for the meat. Or meat. Here I'm still talking about cattle.
Right.
Sorry about that.
Randy
Boards.
needs a biscuit.
No, I had my biscuit, but we went through this phase, I guess in the mid 2000s, where they come out with a treated decking that was clear, looked like spruce,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to have a 20-year rating on it, and it didn't even last 5 years. I've seen a lot of people putting it on because it looked nice, then all of a sudden, it's gone. And
Right.
It's true. We did a deck over in Ashe County, and the house was built back in the mid 70s, and it had the regular 2x6 decking on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to pressure wash, the decking and everything looked like it was built 5 years ago.
Right.
It was pushing 50 years old. So
Yeah.
they had taken care of it, and the boards and everything were very strong.
I mean, that's the thing. When you go back, so 2003 is when they started changing it over from the arsenic. Chromium and copper was the mix before, and so now there's like 3 or 4 different types. But essentially, Randy, you're right. It's copper. There's an alkaline copper, and then there's some other like different. There's like 2 or 3 different ways, I guess they make it. But essentially, copper is the I guess the main compound there.
Well, like I said, we did the show on arsenic, and they estimated that only 1 child out of 1 million would die from arsenic poison from treated lumber.
Right.
No children have ever died.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think that's where James comes in too. Is like, I'm not a expert on this, but I would imagine that by keeping it stained and treated, covered, you're reducing that risk even less.
Yeah, you're protecting it.
Yeah. So I don't know, but going sticking with the lumber for just a minute too is one thing that I see with decks too is, that it used to be, and I know this is coming from the lumber with faster growing stuff, these days, but used to be that you wouldn't see the boards shrink, in lengthwise.
No.
And now, like, I've been on some decks where it's like it's completely pulled off of the joist, where it's half an inch or more sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We started noticing that around 2005.
Yeah, and you get the boards now that bow up and they've popped loose, and now they're 6 inches off the level.
When I first started helping my dad at 14, the treated lumber was called womanized lumber. And we always put a 8-penny nail in between it for spacing.
Right.
Because my dad, being an older gentleman, his main concern was a woman with high heels going through the crack.
Right, falling in.
But when it dried out, it never dried out any further than the width of a 16-penny nail. And it never shrunk.
It's true.
And now, how much space do you really want to leave? Because
You don't. When
it's going to shrink.
When you put it together now, you put it up tight.
Yep.
And then you still might have a 3/8 gap.
Yeah. We replaced probably 3/4 of the deck that I was mentioning. Actually, it was a back deck that we replaced most. It had the regular 1x6 decking boards, and when I replace them, I butt them like Randy said. I tighten them up as much as I can, because when they do shrink, then you're going to have that gap in between.
You're going to have it, right? Yeah. Because they don't seem to swell like they used to. They're going to shrink. They may swell back some, but they're not going to go all the way back anymore.
I've also noticed that whenever it doesn't take as long as a board to cure out for stain or paint, which I'm against painting any kind of decking board, but it doesn't take as long for it to cure out to take stain.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that, and but I can't. I don't know. Like I said, just some of these boards that now are shrinking lengthwise, and it's like against the grain, and it just shows you though how fast things are growing. But also, it makes you wonder too. Like, is it the wood? Because the way they're treating it, is it not completely dried in the way that it used to be? I know they kill and dry and stuff, but
I don't necessarily know if they kill dry or not, even though they say it they do, because a lot of times it's still wet.
Yep, it is.
Yep.
And like Lowe's advertised, this double kill dried treated lumber.
That's it. Well, we're going to take our first break. We'll come right back right after this. Speaking with James, we'll see you in just a minute.
Calling all hungry heroes. It's time to fuel up for the day at the VFW's all-you-can-eat breakfast. That's right. Every first Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., you can enjoy a heaping helping of crispy bacon, juicy sausage, perfectly cooked eggs, golden hash browns, biscuits and gravy, and so much more, only for $15. Whether you're a veteran, a family member, or just a friend of the VFW, you're welcome to join us for this delicious tradition. Come share stories, laughter, and good company while you fill your plate with all your breakfast favorites. Don't miss out on the VFW's all-you-can-eat breakfast every first Saturday month from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. See you there.
That's right. All about home construction here on WATA and the podcast All About Home Construction. Thanks for listening to us. Speaking with James Combs, Appalachian pressure washing and staining. There we go. I get that right this time, James?
Close enough.
Close enough. Anyway, James, long-time guest, and we appreciate him coming on and just talking a little bit about wood, and we'll get into the stain here in just a few minutes from now. And because you do a lot of other stuff too, though, to be fair.
Yeah, we do.
So.
Except
All right.
If I can't do it, I get Randy to do it
That's
for me.
That's woo. Anyway, all right. So we've talked a little bit about how the pressure treated wood's just not. It doesn't hold up. It's not the same. Aside from stain, I want to go back to the stain a little bit. But is there anything to put on it that essentially retreats it?
Well,
or is that what the stain would be for?
That's pretty much what the stain is for. I'm always been doing it for so long that I'm an oil-based guy. I try to use oil on everything, especially here in the high country, or even in the lower lands. It gets a lot more humidity and stuff down there. But everything I use, I try to use an oil-based product. It just keeps it conditioned, keeps it from shrinking as fast as it does. If you don't put anything on it or a latex. Then.
Doesn't evaporate as fast.
Exactly.
When you're installing it.
Yeah, it soaks into the wood instead of lays on top like some of the other latex products. I'm not saying latex products are bad. It's just don't put it on a deck.
See, and I'm with you on that because we've all seen the decks, where it's bubbling off and pilling off.
Yes.
And it's plus it's slick. That's a whole nother issue to me. But I mean, it's walking on it, you can just tell the difference. I mean, it's
sure can.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, we're all wood guys here. I think we like the look of wood. But to me, it's like if you're going to if you want to paint it, seems to me you'd be better off just doing some kind of composite or something. In other words, if you don't want to see wood, wouldn't you be just better off going with a composite decking instead?
Yeah, I mean, you still have to keep it pressure washed because the mold and mildew will get on, and it'll make it slick, over a period of time. And of course, the composite will gray naturally, just like some of the lumber does, because of Mother Nature. You can't
UV, right?
Yeah, UV rays. But it's low maintenance, but it's pretty expensive to install, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. That's to do it correctly. It's double what a regular wood deck is.
That's about what I was going to say. It's about double.
The only what I like about the synthetic is that you can buy it in 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
All right, but then that adds another problem to what you're building, because is your floor joist going to last that long?
Right.
And
especially if you go back to our show last week with flashing.
Yeah.
If it's not built correctly, you're right. It's
Well, a couple of years ago we did a deck and we called for taping the joist. And that was the first time we've ever taped the floor joist on the deck. Well, since then, Fasten Master's come out with a liquid deck that you put on top. See, most of the time when you decking boards get wet, they have a real hard time drying out underneath when they're on the floor joist. Yeah. So they start to rot right there, and you don't even know it. And so you got a gasket now in between the decking boards and the floor joists. And another thing with the synthetic is, at least you can pick it up, take it out, flip it over.
Yeah, you can.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And if you use a good screw gun and put your screws in correctly, where the top's just barely underneath instead of
Yeah.
Okay. Eighth inch down in the wood. You can flip that
Right.
nail.
So that's the thing. I mean, how many times, especially when you see the ones where they've came through with a nail gun and they're pop, pop, pop. Yeah, it's, I've seen this, like, where they stick up for one, like I've seen, or like you said, they're halfway through the board.
Yeah. So they've destroyed the integrity of the decking board.
Yeah. So all right. So what's the key then? What is the correct depth then, there, Mr. Randy?
Well, your screw is only supposed to be even with the top of your decking board. All right. So you can put your screw in it and rub your hand across it, and you won't feel that screw.
So you're still a screw guy, not a nail guy.
Yeah, I'm a screw guy. Matter of fact, I've got a commercial screw gun that we put our decking on with.
I don't like going and having to replace decking boards because we replace a lot. And then when you get in there and you see all these ring shank nails and stuff, and basically you tear
you can't get
half the deck up before you can get the board up.
Yeah, but then if you use a slick nail, it'll freeze
it's
and
popping up, right?
And it'll come back out.
Yeah.
So back when I was doing with the wood floors, occasionally you would get asked to sand a deck. Mm-hmm. Not my favorite thing to do, but it paid the bills.
Yeah.
It's not something that I enjoy doing, and it's not the best thing to do because it's thin wood already and making it thinner. But again, it paid the bills. But I would have to go through, and you'd have to make sure you set all the nails because it seems like most decks around here are built with nails, not screws. And and it's
that's half the day's labor going in and setting all the nails.
You just sitting there. I mean, I would much rather install something than set nails.
Well, screws are more expensive for my screw gun than a box of nails.
Right.
A box of nails would be about $80. A box of the coated nails or coated screws for your screw gun is going to be about $90.
Right.
That's for 1,000 versus 3,000 on a nail box.
Right.
Or whatever count box you buy on your for your nail gun.
But yeah, I mean but I'm with you. Screws are a lot better because they're not going to work out or they're not going to break off like James had mentioned there.
Well, that's the thing.
Don't use sheetrock screws on decking boards like I just ran into.
What?
Yeah.
You mean all?
I've seen that.
Not
too.
all screws are the same.
No.
Yeah.
They're
just painted different colors. I thought that was the only difference.
I've seen decking screws been used on pickets going downstairs because you get pickets cut at an angle. And decking screws or drywall screws a long time ago were a lot tougher than the drywall screws today.
Right.
And that black phosphorus will rust.
Yes. Yeah.
I've had the customers asking me about. I got on all my pickets. I've got all these long red streaks, and I looked at them and I said, "Well, it's because they use the wrong screws." And I had to explain to them why you don't use sheetrock screws versus decking screws.
Yeah, because they've rusted essentially.
Exactly.
And stain would help cover that, but it's not really going to completely get rid of that. I mean, once that wood is marked.
It is, and you can't sand it out. I mean, you can for the most part, but you're still going to be able to see it because the rust, soaks into the wood, just like the stain does.
Well, it's the rust is going to push your stain off.
It will.
So, all right. So let's go back to the stains finally, and there's different things. There's like the water repellents and sealers. Like Thompson Water Seal is the big name we see. Olympic, Water Guard. And that's just a few of the products I think that are popular. But then there's actually stains, semi-transparent and solid stains. What do you recommend in terms of the difference of? I guess do they both have a different application, or is it what you like? Like what's break that down for us?
Well, putting a solid color stain on, I tend to try to get people to stay away from the solid latex stains, and we usually go with an oil-based semi-solid, which 2 coats of that will cover just as good as a solid color stain will. And reason being, it's oil formula will actually soak into the to the new deck or the old deck, and it'll protect it, give it the color, and you can still see a hint of the wood grain in the board. Versus if you take a solid color stain, latex, which covers it up and doesn't let the board or the wood breathe whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And Randy can contest that that's the worst thing that you can do. A deck has to breathe. So anytime you can do an oil-based stain versus a latex, I highly recommend that.
Right. I mean, I totally agree, by the way, but I just, you know, again, you see, especially if you walk into a box store, right, you see so many different options out there, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
But that's the cool thing about, you know, someone like you, you know the product, right?
Oh,
You're not doing, it's not the like the window shopping, like, oh, that looks beautiful, like the bells and the whistles, like you've done this enough, you've worked with enough different products, you know what's going to work versus what just is the trend.
Yeah, man, you know, I have nothing against Thompson's Water Seal or the Olympic Wood Guard, but that's DIY,
Right.
very cheap, quick. With Thompson's Water Seal, I think I'd rather use bacon grease, to be honest with you.
Well, actually,
But
Thompson does a good job, but everybody puts one coat on it.
no, you got to do two, and
You
you got to
gotta
do it
put a multiple
continuously.
coat on it.
Yeah, don't you have to do it to get the great effect of, to get Thompson's Water Seal to work correctly, you got to do it at least every 6 to 8 months, like
Well,
a light coat.
Right.
We've done it on decks where we do it once a year, but put 2 coats on it.
Right.
And because you spray that first one on, you come back an hour later,
It's
and
gone.
It's gone. The wood has already sucked it up.
Yep.
But then when you come back, let's say a week later, and put that second coat on it, now it takes it about a week to go into the wood.
Right.
Because the first one just filled the pores.
Yep.
Sure.
But that's where it gets a bad rap. One coat's good enough; it'll do what it's supposed to because it's waterproof. No, it don't.
You have to understand that a lot of these places, you know, they do all these weather tests indoors. It's a controlled climate, and you just have to be careful. Anytime you see a bucket that says, you know, 1 coat application,
Right.
don't just let that go through one ear and out the other. You got to do 2 coats.
Right. Well, just like when it says the dry time of some kind of finish inside is
Right.
4 hours, I'd give it a couple, like 4 more.
Yeah. Give it till tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening. Obviously, by listening to this podcast, you see the value of All About Home Construction. Well, by joining our listener supporter community, you're not just tuning in, you're standing with us as we are able to support and fuel our passions of the construction industry. As a listener supporter, you'll enjoy exclusive perks, including hearing your name, or maybe even your business name, on our show. So please go to our Spotify website. The link will be in the show notes, and join. You can join for as little as $1, one-time fee, $1 a month, $5 a month, whatever you think you can afford. Every single penny helps to keep this show going as we can continue to grow and do lots more things. Thanks a lot. And again, more importantly, thank you for listening to this. That's right. All About Home Construction. Thanks for listening to us. Speaking with James from Appalachian Pressure Washing and Staining. And hey, Randy, don't forget, though, the Moose Lodge, you said, has
Indoor yard sale.
yard sale. That's right. And then a month from now, a little over, we'll talk about that one again with the VFW prime rib dinner. So
Yeah, I'm going to get excited on that.
yeah, we're always excited.
It will
about
be
food.
it will be rock and roll kitchen that night. It will not be the mutts.
Nice.
Sounds
Nice.
No, the mutts will be there. You know, and but yeah, that was one thing that they really pushed for me to do. So.
That's cool. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. Speaking with James here, of course, talking a little bit about staining and pressure washing, and we'll get into pressure washing too here in a little bit. But so far, just about pressure treated wood and decking and stuff. And so when you go, you do a lot of repair, obviously, in your work. So your work is not just always restaining a deck. But a lot of times you get on these decks, you got to repair them first, right?
Right.
What do you think when it comes to it? So let's say you're doing a big repair. Are you doing any kind of maintenance to the joists themselves, or is most of the repair that you see is going to be just the decking itself? I mean,
99% of the time, it's just the decking itself. Sometimes we'll have to go in and repair a joist or something. Block it up to where we can repair that. But it's very rare that we do that. But the deck flooring itself and the pickets and anything that's above just takes a beating.
right. Well, where I was going is, Randy had mentioned earlier, there's the new sealer. We've talked about the tapes and stuff that you can put on. And I'm just curious if you've seen, because you're out in the fields, seeing these every day. Are you seeing that these are actually products that are working?
I've seen one deck that we had to replace a board, but what happened was the board wasn't rotten. It was about 5 or 6 years old, and I had to actually run across the tape that Randy was talking about. And most of the time, whenever you look under the decks, you get all the stains where the water runs in between the cracks and stuff. And I didn't see as much staining as I did without the tape. But the bottom of the board was great, and we had to replace it because the board just cracked and split so bad that it just had to be taken up. It's a great board. It just split.
It's almost like the trees aren't getting old enough.
That's what I was going to say.
Cut.
Yeah.
Now we go back to what we were talking about before about the wood just not being the same. I mean, when wood is screwed and nailed and it shrinks, it's going to split.
Yeah.
And
Well, when I started in the industry, the strongest floor joist you could get was a yellow pine. Today, the code has changed, and now spruce is stronger than yellow pine because they're growing the yellow pine so fast.
Right.
Yep.
And the spruce comes out of Canada, so they're naturally grown trees. And
They've been there for a while.
yeah, I've seen spruce 3 foot across in Canada,
right.
and that's pretty good timber.
It is.
Slow growth timber. And like I said, when I talked to that one company owner, that owned timber in 2001, he said, we have enough timber for the United States for over 100 years. They can never outbuild what we're growing because Canada's was on the board every time they go in, they clear cut a field, a boundary. And, when I was flying across, you could see where they clear cut the boundary.
Right.
But they went back and they planted timber back, seedlings.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're talking about enough wood for 100 years, in 100 years, those that you've replanted are going to be 100 years old. It's like you're continually getting that slow growth.
Yes, and so that makes a stronger product that will last longer. And in Canada, their treated lumber is spruce. It is not yellow pine.
Right.
With the yellow pine here now, whenever I'm doing any kind of deck work, replacing boards, even using the decking screws, I always pre-drill the holes so it doesn't split later. I think it works. I think it helps out.
Yeah.
Well, the new cutters on the machine screws, like my decking, has a cutter head on it like a drill.
Right.
And then it takes a few screws to get it set, but once you set it, it will stop it right there at the top of the deck.
That's cool.
Right.
And you always got this guy that never read his owner's manual on his drill and don't know what the clutch is on.
They have
What's
no
that?
idea.
They don't know what the clutch is
What's
on
the
your
clutch?
Oh, that's that knob you turn on the front there that has numbers on it.
Oh,
Yeah, you can go from.
I thought that was to go from fast to slow.
It
No.
is.
Oh.
Some homeowners, I'm not saying everybody, but some people, they put it on the screw setting, and
Yeah.
they think that's the speed from
That's what I thought.
10 to 100. And, you clutch it just
Wait,
right,
you're-
and
you're-
it'll stop the screw right where it
You're
needs to go.
telling me that everything is not on the screw setting?
Well,
Yeah.
I thought they just did that to cost more.
no, they just do that so that they can see how many people can't operate it.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like they did a skit at the Home Builders,
Yep.
and they were talking about directions and everything. HS and, Nick Lyons playing drunks in the skit. And they had their instructions for their equipment, and they just said, oh, well, look here, there's my saw or my drill, and throwed it over their back into the air, That's how a lot of these guys
Oh,
are.
I
They don't
know.
pay no attention.
I know.
There's so many settings and, things on drills and saws and everything that if you just read the owner's manual, you'll educate yourself
Yeah.
a lot.
To do a better job.
Exactly.
Well, but that's what makes the difference, right, of professional tools versus the DIY tools.
Right.
I mean, like we've taught before, like you can build a house with a handsaw and a hammer. I mean, it's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But someone like Randy who has all the tools is going to build it faster and bigger and better, right?
Right.
And that's not to say there's anything wrong with cheap tools, but cheap tools are not going to be as
No, they're not.
durable and accurate as a good tools.
And that just really frustrates me.
Yeah.
And I understand people getting into business, go to Harbor Freight and buy their
Yep.
drills. And that's all they can afford, but they don't last. They feel good, they work good, but they don't have the windings in it.
Right.
remember DeWalt 18 volts? Used to be solid yellow.
Yeah.
And then they had a black handle on them. The black handle was for contractors, and the solid yellow handle was for homeowners.
Yep.
The windings in the drill was better.
Yep.
Which I've got away from DeWalt because the batteries don't last.
Right.
I have a mixture of all the screw guns and stuff, I guess. Porter cable, DeWalt, pretty much everything. And I just don't use them as much as Randy does, so I don't really know the differences in
Right.
which one
But that's my
lasts
thing
longer.
is like for the one-time use tool, right? Like Harbor Freight's one thing, but used it every day.
Right.
Well, the best drill DeWalt ever made was that 14.4 volt.
Mm-hmm.
And we were it was
yeah, you
it
still
was
talk about that.
it was a strong enough drill that it would put 18-inch ollie screws through a log into a spline and not burn it up.
Wow.
And it was light enough that you could carry it. Unlike the 18 volt, yeah, it done a great job, but golly, that was heavy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, not to get too far off on the tools, but a lot of the battery powered tools today are better than the cheaper tools that we had 20 years ago. You know.
Oh, I know. I bought DeWalt's first battery powered skill saw come out.
Yep.
It's like had a 6 1/4 blade, and the only reason we bought it was to do cedar shakes in valleys.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even strong enough to cut a cedar shake. I think it was $120 for it. So
Yep. Yeah. So I'll tell you what, we do have one more break. We'll go ahead and take it now, and then look. You can laugh about Harbor Freight, but there's something about walking into a Harbor Freight and
love
seeing
it.
all the tools, though. So I can't knock it too much, Randy.
well, it's getting better. It's better than it was 20 years ago.
Yes.
What is that?
10 years, even 10 years ago.
Hercules.
Pittsburgh.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment you need to get the job done? Look no further than Blue Ridge Sawmills. We offer the full line of Hudson sawmills and sawmilling equipment, from portable sawmills to skidding winches. At Blue Ridge Sawmills, we understand that every project is different, which is why we offer a wide range of sawmilling services. We can help you from everything from finding the right mill for your farm, hobby, or even your business. We also offer a variety of sawmilling supplies such as blades and debarkers, so you can get everything you need in one place. If you're looking for a sawmill dealership that can provide you with the quality equipment and the service you need, then come to Blue Ridge Sawmills. We're here to help you get the job done. Call or visit our Cana, Virginia store at 276-755-3833 or our Asheboro, North Carolina location at 336-964-8304.
That's right, all about home construction. Thanks for listening to us. Speaking with James from Appalachian Pressure Washing and Staining. And James, again, thanks for coming on and talking a little bit. And I know we like to ramble on sometimes about some stuff, but get back into to a little bit more about what you do there. And that's one of the biggest parts of components of your business is the pressure washing.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
That's just like if you're going to go take your car in and have it painted, you have to have the prepping has to be done, before you put anything on. What we do is we come in, we do a soft wash. We use a mixture of exterior bleach, sometimes just depending on how bad the mold mildew is, maybe just a little bit of, believe it or not, Dawn dish detergent, just a couple drops and a little bit of OxyClean. And we apply it to the house with like a downstream component, which is like taking your car to the car wash and doing the pre-soak and then coming back and doing the gentle rinse. Doesn't matter how big your pressure washer is whenever you're doing a pressure washing job on a house. You want to be as gentle as you possibly can on a house. You don't want to.
You don't want to destroy the wood file.
No, you do not.
But that's where most DIY people go wrong.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Because I've seen it where you write your name in the wall, essentially, and
they
it's
don't know how far to stay away, depending on the size of your pressure washer, all of mine are commercial and you can turn the pressure up and down. And it depends on, if you're using the white tip is 40-degree fan, the green is 25-degree fan, and then the yellow is a 15-degree. Anything under the 40-degree fan, increases the pressure so much that you have to, increase the distance from the wood or from whatever you're pressure washing, or you'll destroy it. So A lot of people don't understand that it's not the size of your pressure washer; it's what you use to clean the house with, or whatever
or your distance
exactly
off your product.
Yep.
Well, but it takes time too, right?
A lot of
because
practice.
To me, I think one thing that, again, going back to the DIY, like a lot of the reason they do that is because they've got it cranked all the way. You know, they've got the small tip on it.
Oh yeah.
And they're 2 inches off the wood because that one piece won't come off, or and it's like. It takes time. You got to let the products do the work as well.
You do.
It's not just the pressure of the water.
That's exactly right. We just finished one here actually yesterday, and the homeowner got on the side of the log cabin and just chewed it up. I was thinking that I had a picture of it, but I'm not sure if I do or not. But they use the turbo nozzle that gives it the swirl, like the tornado swirl. That is the worst thing that you can use on anything that's wood. That's basically for concrete. Don't even use it on composite.
I was going to say,
don't even use it on
I've
composite.
seen it on concrete though, and if you don't do it right, you can still see the same swirls. I mean,
or brick walls, which it'll pull the mortar out if you're not careful. You have to stay at least a foot, if not further back. Just depends on how new or how old the concrete or whatever is. You just got to be careful.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the cool thing about what you do is like you can come in and. A lot of times, a lot of people that do the DIY hate to it's a whole weekend project. You guys, you can come in with your commercial stuff and knock it out a lot easier, a lot faster.
Just a few hours.
Yeah, and so it makes a huge difference, and I totally get that. And again, what chemicals because. Yep. Every house is not the same. Every siding is not the same. And so I would imagine that when you come in, a wooden wall on the north side is not going. I'm sure you're going to go do something different than what you will on a vinyl siding with the south wall.
That's true. You just have to be patient with the product. You can. Sometimes it takes 10, 15 minutes of soaking time before you can come and rinse it off. And then sometimes, like you said, on the north side compared to the south side. You have to go back, 2 or 3 times, but you got to be patient with it.
Yeah, instead of, like you said, going down to that narrow tip.
Oh no, yeah.
Get in a hurry. Don't get in a hurry.
No.
Well, what types of products? I know you've got different products, but one thing I think that's a concern for homeowners is, if I get James to come in, well, I've got a lot of plants and garden stuff underneath around the house. I don't want to kill all that. I can't. In other words, I don't want to go out and call James and tell him to come and bring a bleach and do it. And I think.
Right. Well, we use a lot of. I get different outdoor bleach compounds from different places. Just depends on who has it where I'm at. Right. So it all works about the same. So you have to be mindful of basically tarping some plants and stuff if you have plastic or something where the bleach and whatever we're using won't soak through. Sometimes we have to do that, but you just have to be mindful of where you're at and don't spray the bushes and stuff like that. It's just one of those things where I can't really tell you how to do it unless you're there.
Yeah,
and you just have to kind of make a decision on what to,
But that's the cool thing about, again, someone like you versus if I go do it, right?
Right.
You have that experience and like, okay, I can't get this tree wet, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's got the experience, of doing it where a homeowner DIY.
Right.
Well, it's good enough.
Well, and I guess that's kind of where I was trying to hint at is that like, if I go home on the weekend to do my house, there's a good chance I'm going to stop at the grocery store and buy regular old bleach, and I'm going to put it on the pressure washer, and I'm going to be 3 inches away and write my name in the wall. I mean, and I guess that's kind of where
that sounds like a floor finisher.
Well, you don't usually. A lot of people do use some of the just the bleach and stuff they get at. It's great stuff. Don't get me wrong, but vinyl siding, you can use it on stuff like that. But when it comes to wood and stuff, you have to be really careful because some of the bleaches out there, that you
eat the fibers.
And it dries out the wood.
Oh yeah.
Deconditions the wood and makes it to where it's just brittle. Last year we run across a job where a guy would go and spray his he had the 8-inch or 7.5-inch D-log siding, And every year, every 6 months, twice a year, he'd go out there and spray the wall to keep the mold and mildew off of it with pure bleach. Well, when we went to go to stain and we went to pressure wash, we ended up, the fibers, you run your finger down the wall and it would turn to dust.
Yeah.
And you could write your name with your finger. So what we had to do is we actually had to go countersink all the nails and go in and sand that whole wall down to get it down to real wood
Right, back to
before
the
we
grain.
could do anything. So
Well,
please stay away from bleaches.
It does. It leaves this weird, like, crystally looking stuff on a film on it, too.
Yeah, he never rinsed it off either. He
Right.
just put it on.
Oh,
and
it
left
just dissolved the soft fiber.
It did. It just eat the wood up. It's like another thing. We didn't touch on this, but in the wintertime, don't put salt on a wooden deck.
Right.
Even if it's commercial, which I know there's a liability, please don't do that, because whenever you go to pressure wash, we just ran into that here just recently for Appalachian State. We ran into an apartment complex that we pressure washed, and they have to put salt on the decks because when the students coming down, there could be a lawsuit.
Right.
But when we started pressure washing, the fibers of the wood actually turned to like wet cardboard.
Yep.
And it was horrible. We like to have never got it pressure washed down.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe it. Salt's not good for anything
No.
besides rock, concrete.
Well,
Maybe a burger.
Well, salt will destroy
Fries.
concrete.
Yeah, you're right.
Sure
I mean, it
will.
will. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, salt's pretty corrosive stuff. I
And
mean,
another thing that we run across a while back was a guy kept putting calcium on his to keep the salt, or excuse me, to keep the snow and stuff from freezing on his driveway, and the calcium started chipping the top layer of his concrete off.
Yep, sure will.
We were pressure washing with a surface cleaner, and I kept hearing this banging noise, and
Crack,
looked down,
crack,
and
crack.
it was my surface
Chipping.
cleaner was pulling the concrete up. It was about 1,800 psi, not
Yeah.
much.
right.
So be careful.
Yeah. So okay, what about concrete? You know, sidewalks, driveways. What's your process there?
Usually, I just use one of my bigger pressure washers, one of my bigger surface cleaners. Just use just pure water if I can, because I don't know what they put in the
Right.
concrete. Because a lot of people, if they pour concrete in the wintertime, they'll put calcium in it.
Calcium
to get
in it, right.
Yeah, to get it to keep from freezing and to cure faster. And the faster it cures, it's less integrity
Brittle,
in
yeah.
concrete, if I'm not mistaken, Randy.
It is. Now they want you to use air entrainment
Right.
or a plasticizer
Right.
instead of
Plasticizers,
calcium
yep.
chloride. And, you really don't worry about concrete the first night. It's the second night that the temperature goes down. See, it's already shedded its heat from
Yeah,
the
I was gonna say
caustic
concrete puts a
reaction.
lot of heat up already.
And
on
the
its
second
own.
night's when the concrete will bust.
Right. And when we're pressure washing asphalt, we try not to use any kind of chemical whatsoever. Just try to use as much pure water as we possibly can.
That's cool. Well, James, give us contact information.
I can be reached at area code 828-265-6225 or at Appalachian Pressure Washing and Staining.com.
Nice, and I'll put that up on the Facebook page as well.
Sounds great.
So people can reach out. And we appreciate you coming in. We need to get you back in again.
Absolutely.
because we
Yeah, thank you.
rushed through. I
great.
feel like so. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
I always enjoy coming hanging out with you guys. I
That's
enjoy
it. Well, good luck in the next week, and the next couple of days will be a little chilly, but maybe you'll get a little inside work going on, and then get back at it.
That sounds great.
Randy, we'll talk to you next time, and appreciate all of our listeners out there. We'll see you later. Take it easy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All About Home Construction. We air every week on Saturday mornings on WATA in Boone. Please like this podcast, comment, share it. Hey, let everybody know where you found it. Thanks for listening.